Hello, and welcome to my awful, terrible parody video. So the book I'm reviewing, I Will Always Write Back. So I'm doing a parody remix of I Will Always Write Back because I didn't want to do Choose Your Own Adventure Path because I'm not creative and I don't want to type out a fan fiction because, again, not creative. So the first one we're going to start with, we are going to give the female character whose name I've already forgotten. I mean, I read it yesterday. How can I already forget? Well, it's because I'm stupid. But we're going to use the female main character as the big change for our first one. We're going to say that she's loaded. I mean stacked. I mean
wealthy.
Like, I'm talking her dad is Jeff Bezos kind of wealthy. It would start off, right, like, oh yeah, she's in America doing some dumb pen pal thing for school. Whatever. And she actually gets a response, and she's like, oh, that's kind of cool. Now, she's loaded, yeah. She lives in America, and she's talking to someone in Africa, so she thinks, oh yeah, they're a lot less privileged than me, because of what she's heard from her dad and her school. But she's, like, stacked. So when she hears less privileged, she immediately thinks, like, middle-class family, like, teacher's salary kind of family. So she thinks that, okay, he doesn't really need money. He's just some dude living in Africa normally. Okay, so she doesn't bring up financial status because he might feel ashamed. A little bit ashamed, but whatever. It's not like he needs money anyway. So they start talking. And talking and talking. Letters back and forth, letters back and forth. And she wonders why they're sending letters. She gave him her email, and she's like, and he said, oh, I can't email. Why can't he email? Does he not have a computer or a phone or something? Can he not go to his local library and use the computer there? What's up? So, after a few months of talking, back and forth, the African dude, whose name I've already forgotten because I'm a walking void of negative mental activity, sends her a picture of, like, him and his family in front of his house. And she writes back, confused, because this is a really shitty-looking house. She's like, wait, whose house is that? And he's like, oh, it's my house, yeah. So she's like, oh. And she writes back, oh, that's quite the modest house you have there. Rich people speak for, your house sucks. And he's like, yeah, I bet yours is a lot less modest than mine. Now, he thinks that she's, like, middle class, like someone living in a 2-story suburban house in Ohio. That's not the case, but she doesn't say it. She doesn't say that. He doesn't ask because it feels kind of rude. So they keep going back and forth for, like, a couple months, and he's like, oh, man, I can't afford to go to college. And she's like, okay, this kid is too cool. I can't not help him out because we are, like, Bezos stacked. We definitely have enough to at least ship him here and send him to college. So she writes a letter to him, right? And she says, hey, if you want, I could get you into a college in America. And he's like, wait, bro, for real? How? Did someone offer a scholarship when you told him that I'm dirt broke and I'm, like, smart and I pass all my tests, like, best in the country kind of passing my tests? And she's like, no, not really, but I can pay your tuition. And he's like, wait a minute. How rich are you? And she's like, okay. Put it in Africa money. Hold on. Let me just Google what country the dude's in, and then I'll convert it to that country's money. Hold tight. Okay, I'm back. I figured it out. So, she writes him back a letter, and she's like, okay, in Zimbabwe dollars, we have about... Well, my dad has just about 5 trillion Zimbabwe dollars just chilling unused, not gonna be used in the future anytime soon. And he's like, bro, that's so pog. You'd really send me to college with, like, just for free, just for funds, just for nothing? You just send me to college just because? And get me a guaranteed, well-paying job in at least America so I can send my family here? And she's like, yeah, bro. Of course I can do that. And he goes, oh my god! Wow! Oh my god! So she carts him on over to America, and she's like, oh yeah, here's a shit ton of money. Have fun in college. And after he gets there, she's like, oh, come live in a room in my mansion. How many rooms do you want on this floor? And he's like, I want one room. And she's like, okay, one room. It's a little odd. I would expect at least 5 to yourself, just for yourself. So she goes to show him, like, his new room. And that room is, like, the size of my basement. You ask Carter, you ask Nick, you ask Drez. My basement is massive. I've got a big basement. And he goes like, oh my god! Wow! Oh my god! So he stays in his basement-sized bedroom and goes to college. You know, does his, like, he gets his 4 years in college done, diggity done. And then he gets his own job because he's a nice guy. He doesn't accept any money from her family anymore because they've already given him so much. And he, you know, he raises up enough, buys his family plane tickets from Zimbabwe to America, and then he gets them a house, and, you know, he you know, gets them all jobs. You know, they're not as high paying as his because he actually has a college degree, a college education. His family do not have a college education because they're in Zimbabwe. Why else would they not have a college education? Oh, right, because they're probably dumb, because schooling in third world countries is not great, as, you know, you would expect. And then they live happily ever after. The